All right, on to solving rational equations. Now this one we look at, it's an equation because it has an equal sign. Now we're going to do almost the exact same things that we did with the expression, except there's a couple of things that are going to be very different. And also the next two examples, the next two videos that I'll give you are going to be examples of showing you doing an expression and an equation exactly at the same time so you can see what the similarities are and what the differences are. So watch this and watch those as well before you do your practice problems. It will help you tremendously. All right, so we start out just like we do with an expression. We want to factor every denominator. So I can't factor the c plus 9, I can't factor the c minus 4, but I can factor the c squared plus 5c minus 36. It's rule 3c, excuse me, 3a, I'm looking at the c. Okay, 1 and 36 is 36, so that's 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6 and 6. Looks like it ought to be 4 and 9, and it should be minus 4 and plus 9. When I add minus 4 and plus 9 together, I get positive 5, which is exactly what I want. Now multiply just my signs. Negative times a positive is a negative, and that's what the 36 is negative. So I just put these in here just like this. And now I'm ready to build my, and this time we're going to call it an LCM. Now guys, the LCD and the LCM are exactly the same thing. We build it exactly the same way, build our LCD or our LCM building. Again, if you haven't read my document on this, go do that. But I found that if I have you guys call it something just a little tiny bit different, then we remember what to do with it. So an LCM is for equations, and we get rid of our denominator. For the LCD, it was for our expressions, and we keep the denominator, okay? And M means multiply, multiple, lowest common multiple. So it's just the exact same thing, but it's a little bit different name, so it'll help us try and remember when we keep the denominator and when we get rid of it. So just like we did before, we need a good foundation. Sorry about that. My computer turned off and I had to get back to it real quick. Okay, so we need a good foundation for our building. So we take everything from the first term in the denominator. And again, we only use denominators. So c plus 9. Now I'm going to pretend that the first one and the third one do not exist, and I'm just going to look at this one. And this says, in my building, I need to have one quantity, c minus 4. Do I have that yet? I do not, so I'm going to include it. Remember, include or multiply. Don't say and, or you'll mess it up. Okay, now I pretend that the first two don't exist, and I'm just going to look at this last one. So first, we're just going to look at the c minus 4. So it says, in my building, I have to have one quantity, c minus 4. I already got that, so I don't need to put it in again. Now I'm going to look at this quantity, c plus 9. Well, do I have one quantity, c plus 9 in my building? Well, I do. So this is my LCM. I'm all ready to go. Now, unlike with our expression, we need to do something different here now with our LCM. I need to take the c plus 9 and set it equal to 0 and solve. So that gives me c equals negative 9. And I need to take the c minus 4 and set it equal to 0 and solve. So that's c plus 4. And so way up here at the top, I want to write c cannot equal -9 or +4. Now, why is that? Well, if I ended up with C being -9, when I put that -9 in here, -9 plus 9 equals 0. And can I ever have 0 in the denominator? Absolutely not. That's undefined. So whatever my answer comes out to be, it cannot be -9. How about over here? What if it ended up being +4? +4 minus 4 equals, again, that's 0. And then I would end up with a 0 in the denominator, which I cannot have. So I have to know right off the bat what my letter cannot equal. Now I ignore that for right now, and let's go on. So I'm going to need lots of room here. Let's see if I can do this. So something else that we do differently here is I'm going to, come on guys. Okay, so I'm going to start by writing everything in my LCM, and then I'm going to multiply it with my first term. Now, you guys are going to think that this is way too much work, and you should never have to do this much work, but I tell you now, if you start doing this, it will actually save you time and effort and headache, because you will not have trouble now. You will know exactly what to do, and you won't get lost. You won't make sign errors. So then I write my equal sign in this case, and I'm going to put my LCM again, and then I'm going to multiply it times the second term, and then I'm going to put my minus sign, and I'm putting this in a different color just so you guys can see. And I'm going to write again, and the LCM should always go out to the left. I just find that it really keeps confusion out of the way. And so I already did my minus sign up here. And so, will you just stop that? Okay, I already did my minus sign, and so now I just need to multiply it by the 36 minus 8c. Oops, not yet. And make sure to write this denominator in factored form. Okay, now I'm all set to go, and I can, let's use this. So I can now cross cancel, because this is like over 1, guys, right? Over 1, we're multiplying fractions. So C, quantity C minus 9, and I can get rid of the C minus 4. Here I can get rid of the C minus 4. And here I can get rid of the C minus plus 9. All right, so now the next step is also very important, okay? Always just write this down, exactly what's left. Do not try and start doing calculations yet. So, because we see this easier this way, I'm going to put the 11 out front because it's got to be multiplied with a C minus 4. And then same with this C here, and what's left is a C plus 9. And then minus, and I only have 1s in my denominator, so I want to be real careful with this minus because it's got to go to everything behind it. So just like this. Now, do you notice at this point, all of my denominators are gone? If I had any denominators left here, I did something wrong, okay? So I need to go back and see what I did wrong. So now I just need to keep going. So 11c minus 44, I just distributed that. This is now c squared plus 9c, and this is minus 36 plus 8c. So on the right side of the equal sign, I'm going to combine any like terms. So I've got this one and this one, And that's an addition problem whose signs are the same, so I add the numbers, keep the sign. So those two are gone, this is already gone, and then this. Now, quadratic equation, because this exponent is 2, this is my only squared term, and he's positive, so I want everybody on that side, so I'm going to subtract the 11c, and when I subtract it from the 17c, that gives me plus 6c, and then I'm going to add the 44 to both sides. When I add it with the negative 36, I end up with positive 8. And so now I've got, I just need to factor this now using the zero factor property to go ahead and solve this. So again, rule 3a. So that's a C and a C, 8, 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Looks like it's going to be 2 and 4. Plus 2 and plus 4. Add these two together, I get a positive 6. Positive times positive is a positive. So I've got these right here. Okay. And now C plus 2 equals 0. And C plus 4 equals 0. C equals negative 2. C equals negative 4. Now let me go up here and see. I can have a negative 4. I can't have a positive 4, but I can have a negative 4. And I can have a negative 2 because these are the only things I can't have. So both of these work. So C equals negative 4 or negative 2. Now let's check these. These are equations, so I can always check. So let's do C minus, we're going to check C minus 4. Let me do this again. Okay, so check C equals negative 4. All right, so it goes back into the original equation always. So I've got it written down on my desk here, so I don't have to keep looking back, but you guys can look back. So C minus 4 plus 9 equals minus 4. Wherever there's a C, I'm putting minus 4 in just to the original equation. Minus 8 times minus 4. And this is minus 4 squared. Plus 5 times minus 4. Minus 36. Okay, so let's keep going. Now, remember when you're checking, never ever go back and forth across the equal sign. Only just do all the calculations down one side and all the calculations down the other side until you're completely done. And then that's 16 minus 20. Now I'm running out of time just a little bit, so I'm going to hurry here. You can check that will be negative divided by negative is positive, and reduce that. And this ends up being negative, where am I? 36, that's 68 over negative 40. So now I have 11 fifths equals 1/2. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. And when I reduce that, I get 7/10. So I'm going to turn all of these into tenths. So that's 22/10 equals 5/10 plus 17/10. 22/10 equals 22/10. And all this tells me, because these numbers are exactly the same, is that my answer's correct. Okay? Now, be sure to... I just don't think I can get this last thing in here. So ask me later.